All right, this is Dad Diary number 2, whatever video vlog thing this is that I'm creating here. And yeah, back at it again, showing up, and had a lot to think about over the last couple days, and a lot I wanted to just be able to kind of like practice sharing and iterating and communicating and expressing. And I'm really proud of the video that I put up yesterday. You know, this morning when I was doing my work session at 4:30 a.m., I took a little bit of time just to kind of like anchor in some possible creative ideas for myself, and I actually kind of like rewatched my video, and I felt really good about it. I felt really proud about it. I'm like, oh, like this is kind of, you know, if I wasn't myself and I was just kind of listening to it, like maybe this is interesting. Maybe there's things that I'm saying that people need to hear. Maybe they're relating. And I got excited, and I got excited about, you know, the fact that many of you saw the video and you left some comments and you liked it, and maybe it's almost at 100 likes and everything, and I posted across my platforms and all this, and that's all good. And at the same time, I was trying to give myself space to be able to listen to my nervous system, and there's something I wanted to be able to communicate within this video that I think a lot of us will be able to relate to. And it's this kind of like struggle with, you know, observing my resistance to wanting to be online at all. And maybe this is more just because I'm a dad and everything like that. And again, there's just a lot of things in my life that are a priority to me and are important to me, and my energy and the sanctuary for my energy is very important to me. And it's interesting because, you know, as soon as, if you look back on kind of like my habits of being online over the past couple of years, there's been a couple times where I've kind of like shown up and be like, hey guys, like, it's me, I'm back. And then literally like, we'll stop posting, and then it will just be like, and then I'll like disappear for like 4 or 5 months again. And I'm trying not to let that happen this time. And one of the ways that I'm doing that is by just being very honest with myself, and by being able to use this as an opportunity to be able to enter back into this space with intention. Because what I'm finding is that, you know, like for myself, and I think this is probably relatable to other people as well, when you're entering into the digital space and you're putting yourself out there and you're sharing stories and people are liking and commenting and engaging and maybe disagreeing, it takes courage to be able to step into that pool, to step into that water, and to surround yourself with it. And to the point where it can consume your thoughts. It can kind of like begin to seep into the way you start to think throughout the day, the way you see yourself. And this can be positive, or this can be detrimental. This can kind of like become an interference pattern. It can become a distraction. And for myself, I'm trying to find that balance of being able to show up in a way that feels right for me. And I think one of the ways to do that for myself is to even just be able to kind of like practice communicating how I feel, and also to be able to communicate my own boundaries as well. And the reason why I'm doing this is because above just, you know, prioritizing, like, you know, like wanting to be liked and wanting to say things that are gonna make people nod their heads and, you know, be agreeable and, you know, plant seeds and inspire people and everything like that, above all that, which is all important, I need to prioritize my own nervous system. And this is the conversation that I think is important, that a lot of people don't really have, is how incredibly dysregulated our nervous system is. The majority of us is just years of, you know, like growing up in a culture that has imprinted on us deeply, that has like led us into many areas of addiction that now many of us of adults are struggling to deal with and are still trying to unpack things over the years. And, you know, now we're just kind of like tethered to these like digital devices, and we have like this like, again, kind of this expectation that we put on ourselves in terms of how we're supposed to be able to navigate this social media world. And I want to be able to do things differently. I want to be able to just do it with a little bit more awareness. I want to be able to do it in a way where maybe I'm communicating my boundaries. And the fact is, you know, like being a dad, being a father, like being a husband and everything like that, I love you guys, but at the same time, you know, my priority isn't, you know, like spending all day replying to comments and answering DMs just yet, and, you know, and having small talk and everything like that. I love being able to just kind of like jump on DMs and do a quick little reply here, and then kind of like get back to, you know, just like everything else that I got going on. And I think, you know, that's okay. It's okay for me to be able to say like, hey, like, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm okay with, and this is kind of like the guidelines and the guide rails that I'm creating for myself so that my nervous system can remain regulated. And I think it becomes dysregulated when we put so much emphasis on our own value based on what other people have to say about us. And oh man, I haven't checked my phone in 10 minutes. Did somebody else like that video? I gotta open it back up. Oh, there's some new comments, and oh, the dopamine and everything like that. So it's just like, it's interesting because, again, you know, like so many of us, we are deeply addicted to our devices and to our dopamine, and this has done a number on our nervous systems. And so how can I move back into this space? How can I step back into these waters in a way where my nervous system remains regulated? And I think the way how I do that is just being honest and authentic with myself, and genuine and graceful, and sharing in a way that, you know, I hope others can relate to, where we can give ourselves permission to just kind of like check in with our nervous system. You know, like whether or not you are a creator or whether you are more so just a consumer. I mean, honestly, even for myself, like, yeah, I do consume content, but like as part of my habits, like I just don't really have the impulse to want to like browse social media at all these days. I do it for my clients, and I do it strategically and intentionally for like inspiration, to be able to, you know, create things for them and stuff like that. But I'm not necessarily doing it just for, you know, to be entertained. And if you do, that's okay. But if you do, feel free to just kind of like, you know, check in with yourself and ask yourself, how is this helping my nervous system right now? Is this serving my nervous system? Am I checking out? Am I tuning in, or am I tuning out, kind of thing? And so, you know, for me, like as I enter into this space, I kind of like the idea where I can kind of like show up in a way where I can share my piece, talk to you guys, plant some seeds, share some inspiration, upload a video, and then walk away. And walk away in a way that is understood by you, where there isn't like this expectation where I'm not glued to my phone and I'm not glued to the anticipation of who's gonna do this and who's gonna do that, but it's but it's something I'm approaching in just a much more regulated state, where I do enjoy it, but I'm not getting overly excited about it, and I'm not getting overly stimulated about it, and my nervous system isn't becoming overly dependent on it, where it has the potential to kind of like ruin my day. Oh, somebody left a comment on my thing, and 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 I didn't agree with it, and now I'm pissed. Oh, and it literally like hijacks your ability to, you know, be happy, to be you know, kind of at peace and stuff. Like, how many times have you been on your phone? Have you been on your phone and you scroll onto something and you get sucked in, and it's just like very emotional, and then literally, like, you know, 1 minute ago you were feeling one way, and then the next thing you're just on a bandwagon and you're stuck in somebody else's story or some kind of news piece, some kind of like, you know, like hype news piece or some sort of really emotional video or TikTok, and your nervous system is just like jumping around. It's just like, wait, did I just experience that? Like, did I just go through that? Did I just experience that trauma? Like, your nervous system is like legit wondering these things, because the fact that you're like watching it and receiving it, your nervous system has a hard time telling the difference. And so again, you know, like for myself, like being here as a creator, I love being able to see what other people are creating, but more so than that, I love being able to receive it intentionally. I love being able to kind of like ask the question of, how can I enter back into the space of social media that is not gonna over stimulate my nervous system to the point where I don't want to do it, because that's kind of what's happened in the past, I think. And I'm sure a lot of you feel this way too, where, you know, you kind of like, you kind of just want to have nothing to do with social media anymore. And I feel that way a lot because, you know, like social media is a tool, it is an asset, it is great, but at the same time, it is diabolically evil, and it is like manipulative, and it is like just like so many things where it's just like our nervous system's just like, whoa, like what is going on? So I want to be a friend to my nervous system. I want to listen to it. I want to talk to it. I want to set boundaries for it. Like, again, I want to be able to not just have my nervous system be like, hey, like, you know, like, can we stop getting so like emotionally invested in something that's like ruining the rest of our day, and instead just, you know, have those conversations with it where it's up to me to be able to set those boundaries, to set those habits, to set those routines, and even to communicate it to you guys where it's just like, yeah, you know, if you guys see me online and stuff like that, please go ahead, leave comments, but, you know, like, please be mindful of just like my own privacy and my own space. And just because I'm online doesn't mean that I'm readily accessible, doesn't mean that you can just kind of like, you know, like send me all sorts of messages and unload on me and things like that. And I apologize if that comes off as a little bit offensive, but the boundaries we fail to set are the energies we continue to allow. And it's not that I don't care about you guys, I just have to prioritize for the sake of me being able to show up in the best way I can for myself and my family and everything. I have to prioritize my own needs in order to keep showing up. Because, you know, I used to talk about this a lot when it came to like the chakras and stuff like that. Our goal with the chakras isn't just to like open them completely and blow them open. It's to find that balance where it's not closed and it's not overly open, but it's something in the middle where, you know, like it still has boundaries to protect itself. It still has like a kingdom that is guarded so that, you know, things aren't willy-nilly, so to speak. So, you know, if your heart's overly open, you subject yourself to people taking advantage of you and being manipulated and all of these things. And if your heart's too closed, you become like more like, you know, just like less able to connect and stone cold and yada, yada, yada. But there's that middle ground where it's just like, you know what, I see, I hear, I feel, but I don't necessarily have to just like fully take in everything to the point where my nervous system's trying to hold too much. And so for me, entering back into the social media space, that's kind of my goal this time, is how can I hold this? How can I hold this experiment? How can I hold this practice? How can I hold this relationship? How can I hold this habit in a way that feels genuinely healthy for me? Like healthy, like that is the prime directive, you know? Yes, inspire you guys, but I don't want to like show up here and exhaust myself and overexert myself and overextend myself and overgive myself to the point where suddenly it interferes with my ability to be healthy. Like, no, it shouldn't happen that way. Like, I should focus on being healthy, and then my habits on social media are stemming from my standards for my own health. And I think that's an important thing, is like, how many of us even have standards when it comes to our own health in relation to social media and digital devices? Probably not. It's probably like not even something you think about, but we honestly should. And if that's just like, you know, related to like how we're consuming on our phone or our devices or video games or anything like that, reflect. Is this serving me, or is this just like stimulating me? What am I avoiding? Like, what am I not giving my attention to? And so these things are all very important questions to be able to reflect on. And for me, my standards are my family comes first. And as part of that, my health comes first. Because in order for me to serve my family, I have to be healthy and at my best. And then everything kind of branches out from there. So social media, people online, I love you guys, but you're not the most important thing in my world. And I can say that from a place of like genuine love for myself, where I still want to be able to find out how much I can give, how much I can continue to kind of like inject myself into this space, but to do it in a way where I'm focused on the long game, and I'm focused on my own well-being, and I'm focused on, again, just like listening to my own nervous system and really letting my nervous system guide me. Where if my nervous system says like, hey, you know what, this is too much, dial it back, then that's what I'll do. And if your nervous system says, you know what, things are feeling good, green light, show up on camera, go for it. And that's what I'm gonna do. So as a creator, that's super important, man. We gotta just be mindful of kind of like how we're showing up, how we're receiving, how we're giving. And I think if we can kind of find that nice balance in between, that will allow us to really just be able to show up in the best way possible. Last thing I want to do is overexert myself and show up and be like, hey guys, it's me, I'm back on the internet, let's go shift some paradigms, pew pew pew. Like that sounds fun, but that also sounds like a quick road to burnout, unfortunately. And I think we owe it to ourselves and to others to just be able to, you know, like, to, again, like I said, like, take it at a reasonable pace. And call me old-fashioned, maybe that's me as an old man speaking or something like that, but I don't know, to me that wisdom just makes more sense. I mean, I long for the days where honestly all I'm doing is just sitting on a porch with my wife watching the sunset on our little cottage on the lake, and we don't have our phones anywhere in sight. That to me is happiness. But in the meantime, and you know, in the pockets of my day-to-day life where those holy moments do exist with my family and everything like that, me showing up here, it's something I am doing for fun. It's something I'm doing intentionally. It's something I'm doing as a game, as something I enjoy playing, as something I enjoy being able to contribute to in my own unique way. And I hope I can do so in a way where it helps you do the same as well. It helps you reflect. And again, whether you're showing up on social media or you're just showing up as a consumer, or you're just showing up for people in your life in general, talk to your nervous system, see what it says, see what it needs. And there's a whole nother conversation there that maybe we'll have another time, but being able to understand and learn the language of our nervous system. And I think that is so incredibly important, and something so many of us have just not been educated and completely just not aware of at all. So anyways, guys, time to go get some coffee from Tim Hortons. I'm done for the day. I love you guys. I'll check the messages as we go. And yeah, I appreciate each of you tuning in. I don't know what the next video is going to be about. That's kind of the intention, but here I am showing up, day 2 on the mat. And I appreciate you guys showing up with me. And until next time, keep it shifty. Much love.